Today we're going to look at percentage increase and decrease. So if an amount changes, it increases or decreases, we can use the unitary method to solve the problem. We can also use some of the skills that we've learnt earlier with finding parts and wholes, parts out of wholes and things like that, and converting them to percentages to work that out. So for the unitary method, there are two basic steps. Firstly, we need to divide the amount down to a smaller, easier to manage part. So the unit, that's where the unitary method name comes from, and then multiply it up to the required amount. I call this first step breaking it down to an easy part, and then building it back up to the amount that we need, the required amount. So breaking it down and building it back up again. So with increase and decrease, often we talk about money in these sort of situations. So some of the words that indicate a decrease in price are reduction, discount, sale, loss, or depreciation. Some of the common words that used to indicate an increase in price are profit and markup. In Australia, we also have a GST, which is called a goods and services tax, and that's applied on most items and services. There are some items and services that are exempt, but the majority of items have this 10% tax applied. And in other countries, in Australia it's 10%, but in other countries it might be a different percentage. So the way this is applied is that you as a consumer pay the extra money, the 10% extra, when you buy your product or pay for a service, and then the person who you've paid then passes that money on to the government as part of that tax. Looking at a couple of graphical examples of profit and loss now, just looking at profit to start with. If the original amount is indicated by this solid box around here, and the original cost is $40, that's going to be 100%. That's 100% of the total cost that we've got. Say we make a profit now on top of that, on top of the 100%, of 20%. So that means that we're actually selling it not for 100%, but 20% extra on top of that, 120%. So we've got 120% now, and that's the sale cost. It's going to be 120%. So if the original cost was $40 and we've added 20% on, we need to know what that 20% was. So we need to divide up our original amount into a unit that's useful to use. So 20% is a useful unit, a 20% unit there we've added on top. So let's divide our 100% up into 20% units. There's going to be 5, because 100% divided by 20% is 5. Okay, so if we divide that each into 5 equal sections, then that $40 divided by 5 means each section is going to be worth $8. So here we've got 5 sections of $8 making up to 100%. We've got 120% now. So we've got 6 lots of those 20% chunks. So we're going to build it up now, build it up to 120%, multiply it by 6. So $8 times 6, so we've got 6 of the different chunks there, is going to be $48. So that's going to be the sale cost. We're selling it for $48. We've made a profit of 20%, and that's $8, that 20%. So if we were going the other way and we wanted to know exactly what percentage profit it was, we knew that the sale cost was $48 and the original cost was $40. That would mean the profit that we'd made is $8. So we've made $8 money. So $8 as a percentage of the original cost is 8 out of $40. 8 over $40. So as a fraction, that is going to be 1/5. 1/5. And as a percentage, 1/5 multiplied by 100% is 20%. So that's how we can work out the profit there. Looking at loss now, slightly different. Say we've bought a car for $25,000, a $25,000 car, and that's the original cost. That's the original cost all the way around here. Now, when we sell a car, often the cost reduces over time, the actual amount the car is worth. It's called depreciation. So that depreciation over time, maybe we've lost 25% of the actual original value of the cost of the car. So now we're not selling it for 100% anymore, we're selling it for a deal less, 25% less. So now we're not selling it for 100%, we're selling it for 75%, which is 25% less than 100%. So we've reduced it by 25%, we're going to be paying 75% of that original amount. So that, if we divide up our original cost into 25% chunks, so 4 chunks, each worth 25%, we could work out that each of them is worth, each of the 25% chunks, because we've divided the 100% by 4 to get 25, we can divide $25,000 by 4 to see how much each chunk is. So each chunk is $6,250. So now we're selling the car for a cost of 3 of these sections, 3 of these units, and we're going to build it up to 3 times that. So $6,250 times 3 is $18,750, and that's going to be the sale amount. That is 75% of the original amount. So we've got a few examples here. Firstly, finding the cost of an $860 television that's been discounted by 25%. So the $860 is 100%, it's the amount that we've started off with. And we have had it discounted by 25%. That means we want to get to 75%. So we need to go from 100%, which is the amount that we have, to 75%. So we need to break this 100% up into chunks, divide it into a chunk that we can easily multiply up by. I'm going to divide this 100% into 4 chunks, and each chunk's going to be 25%. So how much is each of those chunks? Well, I can divide this by 4 to get 25%, and I can divide 860 by 4, and I get $215. So $215 is one of our chunks, one of those units, and it's 25%. We don't have 4 of the units anymore though, we're paying much less, we're paying 25% less. So we can build it up again, multiply it by 3, because we only want 75% chunks. So we're only looking at 3 of the units, times by 3. And $215 times by 3 is $645. So that's how much we pay for it. So be looking, find the price without GST added to a $253 microwave that has had the GST applied. So it's had the GST applied, it's had that extra 10% added on. We want to work out what the original price was. So it's had the 10% added on, it's 110%. If the original price was 100%. So we're trying to get to that original price. So if we start at 110%, that's the amount that we've been given, $253. So that's how much you pay it with the GST. So we can divide 110% by 11 to get a chunk, a unit of 10%, because then that will be easy to multiply up to 100%. So dividing both of these by dividing them by 11, 253 divided by 11 is $23, and 110% divided by 11 is our 10%. We can then multiply by 10 to get back up to 100%, to get back up to our original amount. So that times 10 is $230. See, here we've got 2 questions. We're looking at calculating the percentage change and profit or loss. So we're looking at the actual percentage that we've lost now, and we won't be able to use the unitary method for this. We're going to have to use our parts out of a whole. So if $25 becomes $32, that means we've made a $7 profit. It's gone up, it's gone from 25 to 32, it's gone increased, so we've made a profit. So, and the difference between the two is $7. So we've made a $7 profit. So the $7 is the part that we've made out of our original amount, which was $25. So that's the fraction that we've made, the fraction profit that we've made. We can convert that to a percentage by multiplying by 100 over 1%, and that's going to be 28% profit. For our next problem, we've gone from $60 to $48, so we've made a loss. It's decreased, it's gone down, and it's gone down by $12. So 60 minus 48, that's a $12 loss. That's unfortunate. So $12 out of the original amount of $60, 12 out of 60, that's the fraction loss that we've made. So we can convert that to a percentage by 100%, multiplying by 100%, and that leaves us with a 20% loss. So we've actually taken 20% of that and it's been lost. It's been reduced down to $48. Another couple of examples here, a few examples. So if we've got 8% of an amount of money is $48, what is the full amount of money? So 8% is $48. We've been told that 8% is $48. And we want to find the full amount. We want to find 100%. We want to find the full amount of money, 100%. So we can divide our 8% down to 1% to then easily multiply up to 100%. So here we're breaking it down to a single percent and multiplying it up, building it back up to 100%. So to get it from 8% to 1%, we need to divide by 8. So we divide both of these by 8. 8%, $48 divided by 8 is $6. So that's what 1% is equal to. 1% is equal to $6. Then we can just multiply the 1% by 100 to get 100%. So 6 times 100 is $600. So that's the full amount of money, $600. B, if 11% of a food bill is $77, determine how much a quarter of the food bill is, 25%. 25% of the food bill. So we need to go from 11% to 25%. We need to break it down and build it back up. So it's easiest probably to break it down to 1% and build it back up to 25%. So to go from 11% to 1, we divide by 11, and we divide the $77 by 11, and we get that 1% is $7. Then we need to just multiply by 25 for both the percentage to get from 1% to 25% and the amount. So multiplying $7 by 25 and we get $175. So a quarter of the amount, 25% of the amount is $175. Lastly, a pair of shoes has been discounted by 20%. If the sale price was $120, determine the original price. So the sale price was $120. If the original price would have been 100%. That was 100%, and then it was discounted by 20%. That means it's reduced 20%. And that is the amount that we've got. So that reduction of 20% means that this $120 is 80%. So 80% is $120 because it's been discounted. It's been discounted by 20%. 20% has been reduced from it, taken away from the 100%. So we could break this down to 20% because that's easy then to multiply up to 100%. So to get from 80 to 20%, divide by 4. Do the same on this side as well. 120 divided by $4 is $30. So then we can just multiply by 5. 20% by 5 is going to be the 100% that we need, the original price, and that is $30 times 5, which is $150.